In Oakland, California, a baby elephant has just been born. If the calf survives, this will be just one of a handful of successful elephant births in captivity. It's taken the Oakland Zoo 6 years to get to this point, and getting here has not been easy. In this world, the elephant's life is all about family. In this world, family is a thing of the past. But the Oakland Zoo is trying to change that. This is not the first baby to be born here, but the hope is he will be the first baby to grow up here. This is not just a breeding program. This is a group of people trying to give their elephants something that's been lost. This is a labor of love.
I have to keep doing what I think is right for them, and I don't think it's right for them to live the next 30 years without any opportunity of caring for and raising and all of the social interactions that come along with a calf.
In the wild, a male calf will stay with his mother for 10 years. A female will stay with her mother for life.
All the family is very closely knit. They like to do everything together.
Cynthia Moss is a highly trained scientist who has spent 30 years studying wild elephants in Africa. She is the author of many respected books on elephant behavior and has seen firsthand how thrilling it is for the whole herd when a baby is born.
Usually the family is there close by, and then once the calf drops, then the family all comes around, and it's a great celebration, and they help her get the birth sack off the calf and scream and trumpet and get all excited.
But most elephants in captivity have never had that experience. Many of them have been captured at such a young age, they've never learned how to raise a baby.
Good girl, Lisa, right behind you. Good. This is really one of only 3 facilities in North America that has a breeding program where there have been pregnancies, and so we feel like we're on the right track. We just have to, at this point, really have some luck to go along with our good program.
With this mother elephant, the keepers at the Oakland Zoo need all the luck they can get.
Lisa is an elephant who doesn't really have warm, fuzzy feelings towards her human caretakers. So she tolerates us at some times, and on rare occasions, she actually seems to enjoy the fact that we're present and we're a comfort to her. And then on the other end of the spectrum are those times when we have completely annoyed her and she's aggressive to us.
Colleen Kinsley is the general curator for the Oakland Zoo. She's been caring for Lisa and the other elephants there for years, and she has the scars to prove it. One of Lisa's attacks cost her a finger and part of her thumb.
What a good girl.
At least one person who's familiar with Lisa's history believes her behavior is a direct result of emotional scars. Jane Garrison is an elephant specialist who works for the animal rights organization PETA. She says Lisa has a right to be angry with humans.
Any animal, whether we're talking about Lisa, an elephant, or even a human, is going to be hostile when their entire life is stolen from them. And her life was stolen from her.
Lisa was born in South Africa in 1977. When she was 1 year old, she was captured and brought to the U.S. At the age of 2, the Oakland Zoo became her home. She lives here with 2 other females, Donna and Madunda.
In a perfect world, we would like to see all wild animals in the wild. We would not want to see elephants, especially in captivity. Elephants are a species that it's very difficult to provide for them in captivity because their social and their physical and their emotional needs are so great.
PETA is often highly critical of zoos. But as long as elephants are living in captivity, Jane prefers to see them living in places like the Oakland Zoo.
Lisa, can you splash, hon? Lisa, splash.
Oakland Zoo is now looked at as a very progressive zoo when it comes to the management of elephants.
One reason for that is something called protected contact. In 1990, the zoo's bull elephant Smokey killed one of his keepers. That's when this became one of the first zoos in the country to introduce a new way of managing an elephant herd. Protected contact eliminates the need for discipline because humans and elephants are kept safely separated by some sort of barrier at all times.
When I first heard about protected contact, I said, well, that just really sounds like such an intelligent and biologically the right thing to do, because in protected contact, the elephant only does what it wants to do.
In protected contact, we don't have a dominant relationship over the elephant. The elephants cooperate voluntarily. Lisa, switch. Lift, good girl. Steady, Lisa, good. Steady, Lisa, good girl.
That took a lot of courage on their part in the zoo community, and certainly in the elephant side of the zoo community, there was a lot of resistance to change.
We were faced with a situation where we had people getting seriously injured. We had a keeper killed, and none of us felt like having to physically discipline the elephants in a very heavy-handed, really almost abusive way was the humane thing or appropriate thing to be doing. And so we were kind of desperate in our search for an alternative. And I think from that, we've been very happy with the results.
What a good girl you are. What a good girl.
When elephants are in a free contact situation, they're using chains to chain them up. They're using sharp sticks, bull hooks, many times axe handles to beat the elephants, to make the elephants do what the keepers want them to do. Where in protected contact, the elephants have a choice. And if they do what the keepers ask them to do, not what the keepers tell them to do, they receive food rewards. So protected contact is wonderful for the keepers, but it's just as wonderful for the elephants.
Not only is this zoo leading the way with its protected contact program, it's also leading the way with its breeding program. The staff began trying to breed its females to Smokey in the early 90s. Their goal is to mirror what happens in the wild, and they're committed to creating a true elephant family.
Talk about enrichment. I don't see how you could have anything enrich an elephant's life more than having a calf among the family.
Greg Gilbert came to the zoo as a volunteer in the mid-90s, but quickly became one of the main elephant keepers. He was there the day Lisa gave the zoo its first baby.
Kajana was born in November of 1995. As a surprise to us, came in the morning, and instead of having 2 elephants in our off-exhibit holding areas, there were 3.
Kajana came into the world full of life and energy, but he was Lisa's first baby, and she didn't know quite what to do with him. In the wild, she would have had experienced mothers by her side to teach her. At the zoo, she had only humans to help her, and it was their first baby too.
She would not let him stand up. Every time he tried to rise, she would put him back down, and at one point, in fact, had kind of squatted on him and just put her weight on him, but wasn't doing any serious damage to him. Kajana didn't have any injuries or anything from Lisa, but she just wasn't going to let him stand up, and he was getting very weak at that point, so the decision was made in that case to have to pull him and take him out and get his strength back and get fluids into him, and then she wasn't willing to take him back. And so that's when we made a decision that we were going to be nannies for the next several months.
Kajana thrived on all the human attention and won the hearts of his visitors and his keepers. Then in the fall of 1996, he contracted a deadly elephant herpes virus. The Oakland Zoo's first baby died at the age of 11 months.
He was so special, and it was a really, I appreciate the time that we had with him. I really do. It was hard when we lost him, but I really appreciate the time that we had. We miss him.
Towards the end of Kajana's life, Lisa started showing great tenderness towards him. The staff was encouraged by her progress, and after a period of grieving, the zoo resumed efforts to breed its elephants.
I don't think I could come to work and look at these 3 elephants every day and know that we were never going to do anything more for them, that we weren't going to make their lives any richer than they are today.
By 1998, both Lisa and Donna were pregnant, but after carrying their calves for more than a year, they both became infected with the Salmonella bacteria, and the 2 calves were stillborn. 2 years later, another painful loss for the zoo, when Smokey died of a mysterious wasting disease.
It was like losing a friend, and it was tough. And yeah, I can, even today when I'm at the exhibit and people ask me about Smokey and those times, there are times I have to take a deep breath and turn away and collect myself. I can even feel it right now.
Losing Smokey was probably one of the most difficult things I've been through. I think at this stage of the game, you know, it really is those 3 elephants that keep me here. And if something were to happen where they, you know, disappeared off of the face of the earth, I probably would not be taking care of elephants. I'd probably be doing something else.
But now these 3 elephants need Colleen more than ever, because before Smokey died, Lisa became pregnant for the 3rd time. One of the driving forces behind the elephant breeding program is the director of the zoo, Dr. Joel Parrott. He is well aware how crucial it is that Lisa's 3rd pregnancy is a success.
The birth of this calf is going to have a tremendous impact on us here at the zoo, certainly the staff, because of all the emotional bonding that goes on, this sheer stress and pressure of doing everything we can to make sure that everything goes well and the baby grows up to be a great, healthy elephant.
And this time, everyone knows the baby is coming, so the whole community is on baby watch.
Yeah. The ears on an elephant are very vascular, so it's a good...
All eyes are on Lisa, and everyone agrees this could be a turning point for her.
If she can be given this one simple luxury that would make her happy, and that would be to have her baby with her, it could possibly change her.
But that can only happen if the baby survives. Nearly half of the calves born in captivity don't.
The possibilities are numerous. One is that she takes the baby, raises it, everything goes fine. A second one is, like with her first one, for some reason she rejects it and doesn't really know what to do with it. We have to hand raise it. The third is she rejects it so suddenly before we can even have a chance to intervene, she kills it.
With so much at stake and the due date around the corner, the staff is working long hours to make sure this baby makes it. Dr. Karen Emanuelson is the vet that tends to all the animals at the zoo. But right now, her focus is on Lisa.
We're trying to be as prepared as possible and, hope that, we have some good fortune and that everything goes smoothly for her, and for us too.
The zoo has come up with an innovative plan to make the birth safer. They designed and built a metal structure that will allow them to rescue the baby if Lisa becomes violent.
The initial concept of the birth chute was an idea that came from one of our volunteers, and it came from watching the videos that have been gathered of other births which have gone horribly wrong. We want a place where we can work around Lisa, but we don't want to have a whole bunch of bars or things that Lisa would be able to hit the calf up against.
Good girl, Lisa Lulu. What a good girl you are. What a good girl you are.
The 17 members of the birth team assemble in the dead of night for a mock labor exercise. For the safety of the baby and all the people involved, the decision has been made to restrain Lisa in the birth chute with loose, canvas-covered chains. This may be the last chance for team members to practice every move they're going to make when the time comes.
We start to introduce the calf. Da, 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 da. That's an important sound effect for calf introductions.
The birth team has been getting ready for this baby for 22 months. But now there's nothing left to do but watch and wait.
What we really need to do is just kind of check her every couple of hours to make sure everything's looking right. We look at her to see if there's any signs of labor, in which case that we would obviously start the recall of all the other people that we need to get.
Members of the birth team take turns spending the night in a trailer next to the elephant barn. They're hoping for the best, and preparing for the worst.
It's actually kind of an exciting time. It's a culmination of a lot of effort that we've been working toward for obviously a long pregnancy. We're getting close to the end. Some trepidation, some anxiety about how everything's going to go.
We're nervous. We're certainly hopeful. We got deeply bonded to that first baby, and it just was gut-wrenching when we lost him. And so we're trying to stay as distant as we can from being too absorbed, but we can't really. We're not very successful at that.
I think we've done everything to prepare ourselves for success, but there's no guarantees for success.
At 5:20 a.m. her membranes ruptured, and the show was on.
As I was watching her then, that's when she got up and then a huge amount of fluid. Here we go, it's beginning. I was happy that the calf was moving. I mean, I think that was my first thing I noticed. The calf was moving, and then we only had a few seconds to enjoy that moment of bliss before Lisa was quite unhappy. And reaching back and trying to hit people, and at one point she slung one of our little hooks that we pull the baby with. She got hold of that and slung that out at the whole birth team. And I was trying to move this 300+ pound baby, so.
The new baby is pulled out of the stall immediately for his safety. After the vets examine him, the plan is to introduce him to Lisa gradually.
We had to put a kind of a rope around the calf so that we could pull him out of harm's way if she showed aggression. Well, it turns out that she was showing aggression, but it was to get that leash off of the calf. We couldn't tell if she was showing aggression once again against a calf, or was she after that leash, and it turns out it was after that leash. So once we cut that free, she backed off completely, and we were able to just push him in with her, and she showed some very tender moments. So she went from this aggression, where literally trying to come up over the rail at us. But it wasn't towards the calf, it was towards us.
We did have to do a little pushing him towards Lisa. No, not this big gray wall. That big gray elephant is what Karen was saying at the time.
We were worried that she may not accept him because of the first calf that we had, where we had to hand raise. But then we were also worried that just that short period of time, it wasn't more than an hour and a half that he was with us, and he started following us around. And we needed to make him realize his mother was where he needed to go. We went through a very tense period where were they both going to accept each other? When they finally did, and then when he finally started looking for the breast, we knew that we had real magic today.
Everyone at the zoo is thrilled to see Lisa bonding with her baby, and thrilled that the birth chute was such a success.
When she was actually in labor, we were able to get her into the birth chute, have her be restrained, have everything really fall into place with all the practicing that we did. And I think that was a success. And so, I do want to share that, because there are other protected contact facilities out there that I think could really benefit from our experience. And if we can make it work with Lisa, you can make it work with just about any elephant.
The new arrival is named Dohani. He's 100 pounds heavier than an average elephant calf, and it took him just a few minutes to steal his keeper's hearts.
really just seemed like all of us, you know, our lives were revolving around this little guy. He was just really able to capture everybody and everything, you know, and he seemed to know that he was the center of the world.
He's definitely the center of Lisa's world. All the mothering skills she didn't show with Ki-Jana were there just hours after Doheny was born.
The mothers go into sort of a nursing trance, and you just get real relaxed, and Trunk laying on the ground, Lisa's eyes would be heavy, and so he'd suckle on the one side, and then he'd run around really fast, and just as fast as little legs could take him to the other side, and it was almost like he didn't want her to, you know, wake up. You just stay where you are.
After 10 days of watching them night and day, mother and baby are doing so well, the keepers decide it's safe to leave them alone for a few hours.
The baby elephant was born 10 days ago amid much fanfare. He appeared to bond quickly with his mother, Lisa, until he turned up dead yesterday morning.
This may have been a tragic accident caused by the baby elephant's mother.
And had at least 2 cracked ribs and some kind of puncture wound to the chest.
Doheny's immediate cause of death was trauma to his chest inflicted by his mother's tusk.
I've lost siblings and I've lost parents, and for me, right now, that's where I am.
At 7:15, he was found dead by a keeper. Lisa was still being attentive to him, even as he lay there dead.
We're completely convinced that it was accidental because of her mothering skills were so apparent, you know, from the very beginning and during the 10 days that she had him. But we'll never know the answer to what happened.
She seemed to do everything right. She may have been being overprotective and was worried when he was sleeping. You know, I've seen that with in the wild where they keep trying to get the baby up. They would want it to be lying down. I don't know why, and you know, but she may have just tried a little bit too hard. You know, she wasn't gentle enough with him.
Following the autopsy yesterday, we returned Doheny to Lisa to allow her to go through a grieving process that elephants have been observed to go through in the wild.
I don't know if she knows that she injured him, and I think that would be sadder for her to live with that. Who knows what goes on in their head, but...
1 week after Doheny's death, the elephants seem to be further along in the healing process than the humans.
Life goes on. You know, this is nature. Animals die and people die, and you know, the whole cycle of life, and they're probably a little better adapted to it than, you know, we humans are. You know, on Friday after Doheny died, late in the afternoon, Lisa went into the pool with Madunda, and they had a big place about, you know, turning up on their backs with all 4 feet sticking up in the air and thrashing around and carrying on, and you know, it just looked like pure joy. And you know, the rest of us probably hadn't even gotten to the point of being able to do something happy and that made us smile, and you know, here these two are just carrying on and having a great time, and if elephants could laugh, that was probably it.
Despite the heartache of losing Doheny, his short life proves something to his keepers. That Lisa wants a baby, and that she has the potential to be a good mother.
If there's any fault to be had, it's in that Lisa was captured as a baby and brought into captivity, and she didn't get a chance to learn how to be a mother. And I think that's, you know, the fault lies with humans. And now we're trying to give her that back, to give her a chance to be a mother, because that's so important for elephants. And it's been a very uphill road, and you know, if I felt like we could understand what was going on in Lisa's mind, then we would do what she wants to do, but we have to make a guess. And the guess is that she was so enriched, and I think so much added to her life by having that calf, that we need to try again.
In time, the people of the Oakland Zoo will try again. They refuse to give up hope because each baby that's been brought into this world has brought them one step closer to their dream. One step closer to giving their elephants a baby to raise and love. One step closer to giving their elephants something that's been lost.